Chad, how did you guys use the off week? What'd you concentrate on?
Concentrating on getting this guys' bodies back fresh. A lot of the guys go gave them a couple of days off, had a couple of mental days, and allowed them to do some recovery and get their bodies back fresh, and also continue to do some little things, to continue to get better.
That temptation as a coach to push them in the off week and grind,
Yeah.
but obviously you need to recover. Or is that line?
Well, it's for us. We had a series of physical games in a row where the guys really, was physical and and put their bodies through a lot physically. So we wanted to get those guys some time off, and we pushed them a little bit. Once we got going, we pushed them a little bit, but we wanted to get those guys recovered. We got a veteran team for the most part with the guys up front and the quarterbacks in the back. So typically you got some inexperienced guys and some younger guys that don't necessarily know how to handle the having some days off or whatnot. But with the group we got, a veteran-laced team, those guys, we had no issues with those guys understanding when to turn it on.
How are the quarterbacks moving around?
Moving around well. Both up, moving around well.
How important was this off week? Just that Garrett's able to kind of play with the first team and
Yeah.
a normal.
Really came in the right time, honestly, man. Just for everybody. Like I said, we've had some physical games in a row where some guys been kind of beat up and guys been playing through it. So it really came at a really good time for guys to get their bodies back right. Really proud of how those guys were able to even sustain the level of physicality we played with in those games, and also during those games to continue to want to play and be out there in the football team. So it really came at a really good time for us to get their bodies back, physically and also just mentally.
Neil mentioned to get where you want to be, you got to be able to throw the football more.
Yeah.
You got to be more of a passing game
Mhm.
team, even though you're still, running
Yeah.
first. What do you do, and how do you work on that, and how do you make sure that's something you improve?
Work it. Just keep working it. Just keep working it. Keep working the chemistry with the receivers and the quarterbacks. Throughout practice, that's what we've done a lot of. We've had some extra days of, practice, with this bye week, and so we've done a lot more throughout the team periods of implementing a couple more pass concepts, a couple more pass plays during those plays. Trying to do a lot pre-practice wise with the offensive line and the running backs to work on run games. So when we go to the team periods, we can work more pass, so we can to work on that chemistry with those guys.
Defensively, they've given up yards, but they've caused turnovers. I think their
Yeah.
turnover margins. So is that kind of what they do? They kind of try to get you behind and try to pressure you? Is that what they want to do?
They do try to get you behind pressure, and also they do a great job of trying to create those turnovers. They feed off that, they thrive off that, and that's one thing we've done a phenomenal job of. I talked to the offense about this earlier this week. Two of the things we wanted to focus on primarily that hurt us, in the last couple of years, we're obviously preaching out penalties. I think right now we're first in this conference in the least amount of penalties, which is really good. We really focused on that, harped on that, and that's something daily. And we really focused on ball security, and we've done a phenomenal job taking care of the football as well. And so we emphasize that absolutely every day. We actually just watched that again today. This will be our second time here in the last couple of days watching a ball security reel, which showing those guys how those guys go about trying to get the football. So throughout practice on our work days, we can work on that.
Good job. What does it take to be effective, successful with play action in your offense?
So run the ball, and we are running the football. So, we just got to be able to throw it and catch it. Be honest with you, because the question you asked, what it takes to be successful with the play action pass is having a successful run game. We've shown the ability to be able to run the football. So, we're getting the bite from, linebackers in that regard. We just got to be able to throw it and catch it. And say, like I said, we've done a great job this week of implementing a lot more pass concepts throughout team periods and did a great job. I really praise the guys this morning. We did a great job throwing and catching the ball yesterday.
They've got a couple of guys that were in your system.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have to be mindful of that, knowing your signals, how you practice, how you prepare? Do you have to keep that in mind?
No, not really, because we're always changing those signals, all the time. So, not really.
Your thought of the development of some of the young receivers that are playing for you a lot now?
Yeah.
Rodney, Traylon Ray, Hudson, even redshirt freshmen?
Again, even with that bye week, that was very instrumental too, getting those guys extra work. We've been doing a lot of what we call Monday Night Football, and so those guys have been practicing. We also get a little extra work with those guys with the Monday Night Ball. So those guys just continue to get reps, get looks, get used to, playing, certain coverage looks and how to adjust to it, and also just, just the actual, the process of getting the signal, getting lined up fast, and being able to, not just get lined up fast, but also be able to look at defense and have an idea, what route you're going to run and how you're going to adjust your route. And that's been good for those guys. They're playing a lot more confidently right now.
You kind of mentioned the quarterback-receiver relationship. Has it been tough on them that, Garrett played 2 games,
Yeah.
Nico played 2 games, and now Garrett's back? I mean, especially a group
Yeah.
that really came together this offseason.
Yeah, it has been. It has been. That's going back and forth, and it hadn't been the same guys. And obviously Nico got a left-handed spin on the ball. Garrett's right-handed. Garrett threw that thing had a little more zip on the ball, and so that's been an adjustment. It has been an adjustment, and so those guys they done a good job, adjusting to it. And like I said, this week having an extra a couple of days of practice and prepare for them. And like I said yesterday, I thought we threw the ball and caught the ball really well yesterday. Probably the best I've seen in the last couple of weeks in practice.
Getting ready for this game, and you're preparing your guys, what are the points of emphasis that you're telling them this week to get ready for Houston?
First of all, got to execute. We got to execute. They know the plan. It's a simple plan. Run and pass. It's simple. We got to execute the plan. That's first and foremost. Got to execute the plan. And we all talked about before we can win the game, we can't lose the game. So we got to continue to do a great job, being disciplined so we don't have the pre-snap penalties, and we got to continue to do a great job taking care of the football. And then guys, we talking about the guys. I've been really emphasizing this the last several days. Guys got to make plays beyond what we can coach. The game plan is simple. We obviously got to be more explosive. The game plan is simple. They know it. The confidence is there. They got to have the courage to go out there and take risks and do things beyond what we can coach.
Is that falling in line with Jaheim and Rodney Gallagher a little bit? Those guys need that space?
They are. They electric in space, and you'll see those guys a lot more. They can do some special things with the ball in their hand. Obviously saw Jaheim do some things, and Rodney's done some good things too in the last game. So you see a lot more of those guys.
Along those lines, explosive play, some of that just comes down to breaking a few tackles, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we talk about that too. And those 4 things we talk about all the time: and produce and make miss, break tackles, yards out the contact, explosive plays. And you're exactly right. We got to win the one-on-one battles. And then we also talked about today, we got to do a phenomenal job of, creating explosives, just, blocking after the catch. When other guys catching the football, we call it activity after the catch. Go block after the catch.
Your offensive line is the strength of the team.
Absolutely.
You might go without your left side.
Yeah.
What kind of adjustments does that force you to make? Not so much personnel-wise, but I mean, does it affect play calling?
Not schematically, not really. Those guys, both those guys, Nick Malone, he hadn't had as much playing time as like Quay Hubbard. Quay Hubbard's obviously had an extensive amount of playing time starting for us last year. And Nick Malone's got a lot of work. He's playing a lot of ball. So, not really. Obviously different players, but in terms of schematically, not changing anything schematically. Those guys got to be able to go out there and do it.
Second half of the season for a young, true freshman, I assume that they're starting to get experience, but how big of a leap can they make as you move into the second half?
I think
a
huge.
Rodney or a Jaheim?
I think a huge leap. Both of them have, they've got some playing time, some experience, and it's played in some, some weight games, obviously to get, example, kind of get, whether it be jitters or nervousness or whether that feeling is, they kind of got that out of the system a little bit, and then we've had success. We come out on the winning end of it, so they're in a good state of mind, and so this bye week come really good time where they feel like, man, I've done some things, I made some plays, man, so I'm ready to go and see what else I can go do.
I know the goal is to improve in areas that you're deficient, but you've got enough games now where do you determine this is who we are, this is what we have to be, as opposed to trying to strive. Obviously, you're going to try to continue to strive in the passing game, but what point is that when you're like, this is who we are? Yeah,
well, we are a running team. That's who we are. I mean, that's who we are. It's funny. I mean, Wyatt Miles was saying that exactly. He said, man, I love it, Coach. We, to go out there and play at the level of physicality and, that we playing with and go and dominate in the trenches. That's who we are. We're a running football team. That's our identity. We got no issues. Sometimes it's certain, in the past, you like, I don't know who we are. Who are we? We are a running football team. We blue collar. We physical. We play tough. Those guys strain. But we got to be able to, pass the ball, and take some shots and make some plays down the field. And we got receivers that can go throw it. And I told the guys today we got great throwers, we got great runners, we got great catchers, we got great throwers. So we got the ability to go do it. We just got to be able to do it. And when the opportunity comes their way, they got to make that play. But that's who we are. We're a running football team. That's our identity. But we got to be able to pass the football, you know, to lighten up the box numbers and also just gives us a better chance to, you know, shorten these drives. You know, we got explosiveness and we got the playmakers and the talent to not take, you know, 10, 12 plays to go score on the drive, you know.
That's better than not knowing who you are after
Yeah,
5
there's
games.
no question.
So,
There's
at
no
that
question.
point,
There's no question. You're absolutely right.
What do you think has held the offense back from being more explosive so far this season? If you could pinpoint.
Well, we got to be able to pass the ball. We haven't been able to pass the ball as good as we want to. And also from a run game standpoint, we got to be able to break more tackles, you know. And then it's 1 to 2 reads a game that we're missing, you know, in terms of our discipline, where those you can't see it. You're from the sideline, you don't see it until it's on film. And, you know, the back has missed 1 or 2 reads a game. That's a huge one. That's an explosive play or a possible touchdown. And those are ones you can't miss. You know, you're going to get your 4, you're going to get your 5, you get 2, get 3. But then you get an opportunity to hit that 50 yard, you can't miss it. And for, you know, last 2 games, we missed 1 or 2 of them. So that can't happen.
When you guys call, you know, something like a QB sneak and tush push or like a wing team, like you all did last week, do you all see someone like a Traylon Davis, his eyes kind of light up because he might not be the production tight end, so to speak, but he's big on those types of plays?
Absolutely, man. His ability to be able to go block and move people at it, you know, and against their will is huge for us. But we try to find a way to utilize all those guys, utilize their strengths, and, you know, and that's what we're trying to do in that area. You know, obviously as you get closer to the end zone, it's tougher to get in that bad for everybody's all packed in. So, you know, we got to do a great job being disciplined, playing great pad level. But, you know, Traylon's obviously, you know, phenomenal. You know, in production, obviously, he ain't the, you know, true pass catch tight end. He can do some things with the ball, you know. He may not go as far, but he does a great job blocking for us, and we need him to continue in that role.
How long were you guys holding on to the wing T stuff?
For a while now. I was surprised he caught it, but for a while now. We didn't execute and get in the end zone, so that might be the last of the week, too.
How often do defensive linemen hold and get called for?
Every play.
Every play.
Now, does it get called? No. I tell you what, speaking of that, man, it's funny because I got to have better body language on the sideline when it happened. I thought it was a hold against us. But Zach Frazier did a phenomenal job. This first time I ever seen, I want to say it's one of the first times, at least in a long time, I've seen defense get called for holding. We got it called twice the other day. That was a savvy play by the center. Really good savvy play by the center.
That's something you could never politic for during a game like
That's something like, you know, doing something beyond what your coach to do right there.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But it never happens, but it also always happens.
Yeah,
You ever plant the seed with an official during a game?
Say it one more time.
You ever like plant the seed with an official during a game, like, hey, watch out for this?
Yeah, well, yes and no, because they go both ways, you know.
All right, I guess this is my question. Like, how did that happen? Like, not just one guy, but 2 in a game where you might not see 2 in a whole year. Was it that obvious?
I don't know if the first one was definitely that obvious. You know, when you see it on film, it's definitely that obvious. And a lot of it too. You know, I think Zach Frazier did a phenomenal job. He strained so hard, and when he plays, he strains so hard. It's hard not to like it. And like he strains so hard, it's hard not to look at him and say he's holding that guy. So I think the level of strain and effort that he plays with, you know, puts the lineman in a position where they can get called for holding. Because like on that first one, it was so obvious. I mean, he was straining his butt off trying to go get that linebacker, and he just couldn't get him. And you could clearly see his jersey tug, and so the level of strain he plays with and the effort he plays with, you know, puts the lineman in a position to get that called on him.
This week off, how
Huge.
banged up was he?
Huge. He needed it big time in every way. He's a new person, like smiling, talking. And so he needed it big time. That was huge for him.
Okay, thank you, Coach.
Thank you all.